It was parked too damn perfect. That's what got me. Not the dent. Not the scratch down the driver's side, or the cracked mirror hanging limp like a busted arm. No, what hit me first, what sank into my gut like ice, was how carefully it was parked. Right up against the garage wall, angle tight, tires straight. Like someone was hiding something. I stood there staring at it for maybe a full minute before I opened the door and walked around. I could already feel my throat tightening. Let me back up. I'm Frank. I'm 48. I've been working on cars since I was 18, started as a mechanic. Now I manage a service center for a luxury dealership outside Pittsburgh. I don't drive junk, but I never bought anything close to that $100,000 coupe until last spring. I busted my ass for years, worked every holiday, paid off debt, skipped vacations. That car was supposed to be mine, my quiet reward. But when I got home that day, it was already ruined. The garage was cold and smelled like oil and wet concrete. Overcast outside. One of those gray Western PA afternoons where the sky just sort of sits on your shoulders. My wife Marlene and her daughter, Tessa, were in the kitchen. I walked in, pale probably, and said, "What the hell happened to my car?" Tessa looked up from her phone, blinked. "Drew took it," she said flatly. "He was gone this morning. I saw him sneak out. I told him not to. My son Drew is 16. He's not perfect. He's loud, impulsive. Had a couple of close calls this year, snuck out, almost got suspended for vaping, the usual teenage crap." So I looked at her, then at Marlene, who nodded like it was fact. And for a second, I believed it. Drew came downstairs. I could see it in his face. He knew he was about to get slammed with something, but not what. "I didn't touch your car," he said before I even asked. "I swear to God, Dad, I didn't." And here's the part that I still feel sick about. I didn't believe him. He stood there, voice shaking, and I just stared at him. Tessa was sitting on the bar stool, arms crossed, eyes red like she'd been crying earlier. Drew was red too, but with anger. I told him to go to his room. He muttered something under his breath and slammed the door behind him. I just stood in the kitchen like a statue while Marlene made coffee. She said we'd figured out that maybe Drew would confess later. She said I shouldn't be too hard on him, but my gut kept circling back to that one damn thing. That car was parked too perfect. The guilt didn't wait. It hit me that same night. After dinner, after Marlene had gone to bed, Drew didn't come down. I left his plate in the microwave, untouched. I stood in the garage with the lights off, door cracked open just enough to let in some of that cold October air. Pittsburgh smells different at night. Wet leaves, rust, something burn in the air. I just stared at the car. My car. Black coupe, ceramic coated, not even 6 months off the lot. That dent in the fender looked worse now, like a bruise on something you love. And I kept thinking, did I just choose her over him? I didn't say those words out loud, but they sat heavy. I couldn't shake them. Tessa's story didn't add up. No one saw Drew take the car. No one heard the engine. That thing roars like a lion when it starts. There's no sneaking it out at 7 a.m. without waking the whole damn house. Still, I doubted him. And that's on me. Drew's had his moments. He's mouthy, messy. There was a time last year I caught him vaping in his room, and I nearly lost it. But he's never been a liar. Not once. He'd own up to things that weren't even his fault sometimes, just to avoid the drama. Tessa, on the other hand, always knew how to twist things. Not always with lies, sometimes with silence. You'd ask her something, and she'd just look at you, confused, like you were the crazy one. She never got grounded. Not once. Every time something came up, Marlene would jump in. She's stressed, or she didn't mean to, or she's not like Drew. And maybe that was the crack in the house. Right there, that subtle divide between ours and mine. That night, I sat on the cold step by the garage door, just staring. I thought about how much that car meant to me. Not just the money. It was pride. After years of working on other people's dream cars, I finally had one of my own. And now it sat there, scarred and silent, and I didn't even know who to be mad at. Tessa, Drew, myself. Mostly myself. The next few days were stiff. Quiet in that fake way, like everyone was pretending nothing happened. Marlene went to work early and came home late, barely making eye contact. Tessa avoided me completely. She stayed in her room, always with the door closed, earbuds in. The kind of silence that's not peaceful, just strategic. And Drew? He went cold. He wasn't rude. He wasn't yelling or slamming things. But the kid who used to sprawl out on the couch watching terrible sitcoms with me now stayed in his room. Headphones on, door cracked just enough to say don't bother. I thought about talking to him, apologizing maybe, but I couldn't quite get the words right in my head. I'd already told him, without saying it, that I didn't trust him. That kind of thing leaves a bruise. The car sat in the garage, untouched. Every time I walked past it, I winced. That fender was a reminder. I could still hear Tessa's voice in my head, so damn calm, saying Drew had taken it. One night, I went down to the garage again. It was past midnight, rain ticking on the roof. I turned on the overhead light and just stared at the car. And then I remember the cameras. A week before the whole mess, someone had broken into our neighbor's truck 2 doors down. I'd ordered a set of motion cameras off Amazon, one for the garage, one for the driveway. Installed them myself. Never thought much about them after that. But now that memory hit me like a switch flipping on. I grabbed my laptop, logged into the app, and started scrubbing back through the footage. The garage one, saved to the cloud, motion triggered. I skipped through days of nothing. Empty space, dust floating in the light. Then I saw it. Timestamp, Friday, 6:08 a.m. The door opened. Tessa slipped inside in pajama shorts and a hoodie. She looked around, grabbed the spare key off the shelf, and got in the car. Started it. Waited a second. Then backed out like she'd done it 100 times. 2 hours later, 8:12 a.m., she pulled back in. There was a scrape already on the side. She paused for a second, looked at it, and then parked it carefully. Almost surgically. Angled the tires, checked the mirrors. Got out. Put the key back. Closed the door. Not a flicker of panic. No fear. Just calm. I stared at the screen, cold spreading through my chest. She'd lied. Straight to my face. She let me stand there and accuse my son, and she just watched. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat there in the kitchen with the laptop open in front of me, replaying the footage like some twisted movie. Over and over, the same movements. Tessa grabbing the keys, sliding behind the wheel, coming back like nothing happened. I felt something rip inside me. Not anger, exactly. Not yet. Just hollowness. I thought about Drew up there in his room, probably still wondering why I looked at him like a stranger. And I thought about Tessa, how smooth she was. No panique. No guilt. Just calm precision. That's the part that kept me up. How comfortable she was with the lie. By 6 a.m., I made up my mind. No more guessing. No more quiet tension. I waited until everyone was awake. Marlene was in the kitchen making eggs, half distracted on her phone. Tessa strolled in like she didn't have a care in the world. Hoodie, leggings, ponytail. She poured herself coffee like it was any other Sunday. I didn't say a word. Just turned the laptop toward her and hit play. At first, she didn't react. Just blinked. Sipped her coffee. Then the screen showed her walking into the garage, reaching for the key, starting the engine. Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't say anything. When it hit the part where she pulled back in with the damage, Marlene finally looked up. She froze. Tessa didn't cry. Not right away. She just set the coffee down and said, "Okay, fine. I took it. That was it. No apology. No scam." Just that hollow tone. Like I caught her sneaking a cookie, not wrecking a $100,000 car and lying about it. Marlene stood there silent, one hand still on the spatula. I looked at her, waiting for something, a defense, an excuse, anything. She just said, "Tessa, why?" But Tessa had already turned and walked off. I told her then, loud enough for both of them to hear, that she was out of the house. I didn't care where she went. She wasn't stepping back in here until she paid for the damage. Marlene looked at me like I'd slapped her. "You can't be serious." "I'm dead serious." She opened her mouth like she was going to argue, then closed it, then followed Tessa upstairs. I sat alone in the kitchen, hands shaking, stomach twisted in knots. I didn't want to be right, but now that it hurt even more. She was gone by noon. Didn't say a word to me. Marlene helped her pack, mostly quiet, just footsteps overhead, drawers opening, a suitcase zipper dragging open like a gut being split. I sat on the porch. Didn't feel like being inside. I didn't want to see her walk out the front door with that same blank look she gave me at breakfast. I heard the car door slam. Her dad's truck, probably. Then tires crunching down the driveway. And then the house went quiet again, but this time it wasn't the fake kind. It was hollow, like someone pulled all the wires out of the walls. Marlene didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. Not in anger. Not in sadness. She just didn't. That evening, she finally said one thing. Just one. "She's still a kid, Frank." I didn't respond, because I wasn't sure what to say. Maybe she was. But so is Drew. That night, Drew came downstairs for a drink. Saw me sitting at the kitchen table, just nursing a beer and staring at the wall like it owed me money. He stopped, looked at me. I said I was wrong. That's all I had in me. No speech. No excuses. He didn't say anything for a minute. Just opened the fridge. Poured orange juice. Then he nodded once. "Yeah." Then he turned and walked back upstairs. And that hurt more than if he'd screamed at me. I could feel the space between us. Like something had slipped out of place and wouldn't go back no matter how hard I pushed. I wanted to chase him, say more, dig it all out, but I didn't. Maybe because I was afraid of what else I'd have to admit. The thing no one tells you about parenting teenagers? Sometimes you don't get the big dramatic moment. Sometimes it's just a nod and a door clicking shut. She was gone, but everything stayed broken. Marlene walked around like a ghost. Present, but somewhere else. She went to work. She made dinner. She folded laundry. But her words were clipped, her eyes far off. I didn't press. I knew that look. I'd seen it before in people who'd just lost something, even if they couldn't name what. A week passed. Then two. Tessa didn't call. Didn't text. Didn't say a word. Not to me, not to Drew. I overheard Marlene on the phone with her once, quiet in the bedroom with the door almost closed. I caught phrases like, "You know it was wrong," and "He's still your stepdad," but the tone wasn't angry. It was soft, careful, like she was talking to a wounded animal that might bolt if she raised her voice. I didn't ask what they talked about. Marlene didn't volunteer. That became our pattern, living in the same house, orbiting each other like planets that had collided and spun off in opposite directions. Meanwhile, the car sat in the garage, still dented. I couldn't bring myself to fix it right away. Every time I saw that gouge in the fender, it felt like it was carved into me. Some days, I just open the garage door and stand there for a minute, then close it again. I told myself I was being dramatic. It's just a car, metal and paint. But it wasn't. Not to me. It was 12 years of overtime. It was every canceled vacation. Every time I said, "We can't afford that right now, buddy," to Drew. It was my one selfish thing. And someone I'd opened my house to, someone I treated like family, used it like a toy, and blamed my kid to cover her tracks. It wasn't about money. Not really. It was about what it cost. Some days I thought about calling her, just to hear her admit it again, just to see if she had any idea what she actually did. But I didn't, because deep down, I knew she didn't care. Not really. There's this thing that sticks with me. Tessa was never grounded. Not once. Even when she was younger, even when she pushed too far, talked back, skipped school, got caught sneaking out, Marlene would always come up with a reason to let it slide. She's under pressure. She's figuring things out. I don't want to push her away. Meanwhile, Drew got grounded for coming home 10 minutes late. I saw it back then, but I let it go. Because I wanted peace. I wanted the house to work. I didn't want to be that guy. The stepdad always laying down rules, drawing lines in a house that didn't belong to him until recently. But now, sitting with all this wreckage, I wonder if letting it go is what made it worse. You teach people how to treat you. And I think I taught her I was someone she could use, lie to, and walk away from without consequence. I don't think she ever hated me. I think I just wasn't useful anymore. She wanted help with college tuition earlier this year. I told her we couldn't swing it unless she applied for aid or found part-time work. She gave me this blank look like I'd betrayed her, like I was supposed to fix everything. After that, she got colder. Not openly, but little things changed. She stopped saying good morning. She stopped clearing her dishes. She didn't even hide how annoyed she was when I walked into the room. Looking back, maybe the car wasn't just a joyride. Maybe it was her way of saying screw you. Maybe she didn't mean to crash it, but I don't think she cared much that she did. And blaming Drew, that was strategic. She knew our history, knew I'd hesitate, knew it'd plant just enough doubt to buy her time. And it worked, for a while. That's what still makes my stomach turn. Not the money, not even the car. The fact that she knew exactly how far she could push me. And she did. It took me 3 weeks to finally call the shop. I could have fixed the car myself. I've done body work for years. But something about doing it with my own hands felt too personal. Like patching up a wound someone else gave you while they walked away without a scratch. So I brought it to the dealership. The guys at the service bay didn't ask questions. They knew better. One of them raised an eyebrow at the damage, but I just said, "Had a bad morning," and left it at that. The next week, I visited to check the progress. The car was up on a lift, fender off, front panel removed, like it had been peeled open. I just stood there and watched. Funny thing is, I didn't feel anything. No anger, no sadness, just tired. The mechanic walked over and asked if I wanted to approve a full respray on the panel. I nodded, gave him the okay, then went outside and sat in my truck for half an hour doing absolutely nothing. I never thought a garage could feel like a confession booth. But that's what it was. All the time I spent in there lately, walking around the dent, standing in silence, reliving the moment Drew said I didn't do it and I didn't believe him. That memory played over and over in my head. The look on his face. Not scared, not angry, just disappointed. Like something broke in him a second, I didn't have his back. And I keep wondering if I'll ever get that part of him back. Or if it's gone for good. The trust, the easy laughs, the late night snacks, and stupid jokes while we watched reruns. Some damage you can buff out. Some stays, no matter how many coats of paint you throw on top. It was a Wednesday night when it finally hit me. Drew wasn't a kid anymore. Not because he got taller, not because his voice had changed or because he started shaving, but because I saw him walk past me in the hallway and he didn't flinch. Didn't look up. Didn't try. That was new. He used to poke at me every time he walked by. Say something dumb. Ask if I was cooking or burning dinner. Now he just moved through the house like a tenant. Quiet. Careful. Self-contained. I thought about saying something. Again. Something better than I was wrong. Maybe a real apology. A real talk. But the words felt stuck. I kept second-guessing myself, like I didn't have the right anymore. That's what guilt does. It robs you of your own voice. Marlene hadn't mentioned Tessa in over a week. It was like she'd quietly accepted the distance, or maybe just didn't have the strength to fight anymore. I didn't ask if she missed her. I didn't ask anything. We'd become civil strangers under one roof. Dinner was quiet. Always quiet. Forks scraping plates, fridge humming, the occasional cough. That kind of quiet makes your thoughts louder. I caught Drew in the garage once. He was just standing there, looking at the car. Fully repaired now. Paint flawless. Like it had never happened. He didn't say anything when he noticed me behind him. Just nodded once and walked back inside. I stood there a while after he left. Ran my hand along the hood. It looked brand new, but I knew better. You can polish the outside all you want, but damage leaves a memory. And some part of that machine, deep inside, would always know it had been wrecked. Just like us. Tessa never apologized. Not once. Not a text. Not a call. Not even a half-hearted "my bad" relayed through Marlene. Nothing. And yet, about 2 months after she left, a check showed up in the mailbox. No note. No return address. Just a white envelope with a Pittsburgh postmark and a folded check inside for $9,200. I knew it was her. I knew the number wasn't random. It matched the repair estimate almost to the dollar. I stared at it for a long time. Didn't know what to feel. Relief? Anger? Closure? All I felt was tired. I showed it to Marlene that night. She didn't say much. Just stared at it like it was radioactive. She must have taken on extra shifts, she said finally. Maybe her dad helped. I didn't ask. I didn't even deposit the check right away. It sat on my desk for 3 days. I'd pick it up, turn it over, set it back down. Like I might start talking. But it didn't. Her silence was the apology I never got. And in a way, I think that was her last move. Not saying a word. Just paying the debt like a transaction. Cold. Clean. No acknowledgement of the mess left behind. I deposited it on a Thursday around noon. Walked into the bank, handed it over, nodded when the teller asked if I wanted a receipt. Didn't say anything else. That night, I told Drew. He didn't react at first. Just sat there finishing his cereal like I'd said something about the weather. Then he asked, "She really sent it?" "Yeah." He chewed slowly, then shrugged. "Guess she's not coming back." I nodded. "No, I don't think she is." He didn't smile. Didn't frown. Just stood, rinsed his bowl, and walked upstairs. And for the first time in a while, the silence didn't feel so heavy. It just felt finished. I still keep the car. It's parked in the garage like it always was, clean, polished, not a scratch on it now. I drive it maybe once a week, usually early Sunday mornings when the roads are empty and the sun's just crawling over the hills. That drive used to feel like victory. Now it feels like quiet. The car still shines, but I don't look at it the same. I used to stare at it like it meant something. Now I barely glance at it when I walk by. Not because I hate it, but because it reminds me of too much. Marlene and I, we're still here. Still married. Still sleeping in the same bed. But it's different now. She never outright said she blamed me. But something between us shifted. A little more space. A little more pause between words. Like we're both waiting for the other to make a move neither of us wants to make. We don't talk about Tessa. She doesn't ask me to forgive her, and I don't ask where she is. Some lines, once crossed, don't come back. Drew's changed, too. He's quieter, but more grown up. He does his homework without being asked. Makes his own breakfast. He even started asking to use the tools in the garage again. Fixing little things. His own way of rebuilding what got cracked. One night, maybe a month ago, I walked out and found him sitting in the driver's seat of the car. Engine off. Just sitting. He saw me and started to get out, like he was in trouble. I said, "You don't have to move." He stayed. Didn't say much. Neither did I. We just sat there, him in the seat, me leaning on the hood, listening to the soft clicking of the engine cooling down from nothing. Sometimes, healing isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with big apologies or tearful moments. Sometimes it's just sitting quietly with your kid in the garage, letting him know he's got a place again. And that's enough.